Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so today should be a very, very short video. We're going to talk about God today. And once again, I'm going to free you from a possible, it wasn't a direct lie, but an indirect lie. So let me ask you this question, and I'm being very serious, by the way. Who here honestly believes that God is very dumb, very low IQ, lower than the average human, and who here believes that God is an egomaniac from hell? Or even just someone who's so insecure that we'll just use the word that they're an egomaniac. So who honestly believes that? The music will go down in about 30 seconds. So, alright. Here's what I started realizing. I don't know, maybe I was in my mid-20s or maybe earlier. I'm not really sure when, but there was a time when I started looking at God in kind of a common sense way. I started looking at God and said, well, is God really that weak where he has to intimidate, threaten children? And I thought, no, that it just doesn't make sense. If God is this really high being, this God wouldn't be weak. He doesn't need to bully people to feel good about himself. So I started looking at God and I just thought, if somebody or some being has been around that long and is at this high level, they have to be a very, very loving, compassionate, and understanding being. Because it doesn't, see, okay, as far as I've come along my own emotional healing, energy healing, all that stuff all the work I've done for 30 plus years, I'm way better now than I was 30 years ago, for sure. So, I guess what I'm saying is this. I just don't look at God as this really reckless, insecure, low level, low vibrating energy source. I don't see it. I think God's very emotionally grounded. I do think that God has emotions. I feel that God's emotionally grounded, down to earth, has a lot of clarity, is very conscious and very aware. And I think that all comes from love, because the more I open up, I realize, wow, love is really that space you want to be in, love and compassion, to really be able to connect with people, to understand people, to open up to your own higher intelligence and your own power. So God has to be this times 10 to the 10 millionths, whatever. So I absolutely do believe God is very intelligent, very very high when it comes to consciousness, is very emotionally grounded and has clarity and all that good stuff. I really think God is just a wonderful, wonderful being. And unbelievably powerful. And I don't think God walks around in fear like the average human does. Not at all. So here's the deal. I don't think God's an egomaniac at all. I really don't. And I don't think God's insecure. So now let's kind of take a look at it. So in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light," and poof, there was light. So essentially, God created the whole universe with a breath. And God created, so God created all the heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon, and the stars in 6 days. So here's the lie, maybe to be kind, misunderstanding, but I really do believe the narcissists that use this, they lie. So here's what it is. You know how, like people say, oh, you got to worship God, or here's the thing you got to understand. God is not an egomaniac. He did not create us because he's like, yeah, I want people to look at me and revere me and fear me and look up to me and just bow down and kneel and worship. Who does that sound like? Everything that I've said from the beginning of this video to now, who does that sound like? Fear me, worship me, bow down to me, you're beneath me. Sounds like a narcissist. The whole what was the beginning, low level IQ, egotistical maniac, that all of that sounds like a narcissist. Because narcissists are the ones who have been teaching this stuff, and they truly believe, well, if I'm this way, God must be 10 times more. See, we tend to view things the way that we are. So I look at God as a very, very loving God. I really do. I think God has a lot of common sense. I think God's intelligent. And I also think God is a very loving and compassionate God. Now that other being, the fear me, worship me, bow down to me, that's the false God. That's the illusion. That's the smaller being. That being might have spiritual powers, but nothing like God. And that being's the one that wants you to feel guilty and shameful and in a fear and all that stuff. God just loves you. It's like a baby. It's like a child. Imagine having a 2-year-old cute little girl. You're just going to hug her and cuddle her. You're going to protect her from the world. You're going to help her take her first steps and, learn how to, do her hair when she gets older. Just help her walk and protect her and tell her, hey, don't put your hand on the fire. It'll hurt you. It'll burn you. That's what the Bible is all about. It's a bunch of things saying, hey, don't do this because you can get sick, you can die. Hey, don't do this because this is going to hurt you emotionally. Don't do this, it's going to hurt you spiritually, et cetera, et cetera. It's not the guide to punishment. It's the guide to living a better life. It's a guide to healing, to being happy, to getting along with other people, to understanding how to love another person and what love is, and also how to avoid, narcissists and demons and all that stuff. So trust me, God does not need your worship. God does not need an ego stroke, okay? God does not need anything from you. You're his baby. God loves you. God's always going to love you. That's just the way it is. See, God's just there for you. Period. End of sentence. It's like, you need help, call on me. You need advice, call on me, pray to me, open up to me. And that's really what my channel is all about. I don't want you to believe me and what I'm saying. The whole goal is to get you to find your emotional freedom. Because if you can find that, you can open up and connect to God. And that is what this channel is about. Opening up to God, so you can be in tune, so you can pay attention to your gut feeling, your intuition, or maybe a quick thought came in your mind like, oh, wait a minute. God will guide you and teach you and literally just give you information. I believe it's all about spiritual growth. It's all about tuning into the other side, to reconnecting to the spirit. For sure, it's here to guide you to have a better experience and existence here on Earth. To avoid the pitfalls, the pains of life, or how to deal with them, how to learn from them. Honestly, God's like a father. I mean, literally, a good father is going to protect you and guide you down the right path. Say, hey, look out for that. Don't do this because it's going to hurt you. But that is all been twisted by narcissists that have infiltrated the churches and oh, you got to worship God, you got to be submissive, bow down. I'm sorry, but if you honestly believe God is an egomaniac and needs your worship, really? Sorry, I went off the rails there for a little bit, which I do once in a while. So no, God just loves you, and I'm pretty much. Let me check one thing, but I pretty much that's it. As I've said in my past videos, this experience, this 3D experience, was something that was a gift. It's a place for us to learn, to grow, to develop mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And it's kind of like, it's almost like the more you learn, the better life becomes. The more fun you have, the less, it's like you let go of the little things that people do. You let go and you start to go, oh, I see what that is. And so suddenly you begin to navigate life a whole lot better. And life starts to become a little bit more fun, a little less painful, a little less hurtful. And that's kind of thing. You keep going, it gets a little better and a little better. And that is the whole idea of this experience. And along the way, you just become a better person. You become more compassionate towards yourself, and thus you become more compassionate and understanding towards others. So it's this inward journey of self-compassion, self-love, and being understanding of yourself and compassionate of yourself when you do make mistakes. And my new little kind of mantra or whatever thing I have here, it's like we're here to evolve. Find your freedom, take back your power, and kick ass. Welcome to the Church of Awesome. Now, when I say kick ass, I don't mean to kick someone's ass. What I mean really is to just like get good at stuff, like get good at being conscious, get good at tuning in, grounding yourself, becoming happy and becoming a more loving person, and also walking away from negative, bad things. I mean, it's a balance. It's not just all positive. It's like, okay, there's a pitfall. Let's walk away from there and go over this way. This is more solid ground. So in all sincerity, that's pretty much it. God is not an egomaniac, and God doesn't demand that you worship him. It's literally like a child. God is just hoping that in return you're going to love him, and that's what it is. You got to stop looking at it like it's something that God's demanding, or else you're going to be punished or you're not going to get rewarded. God just loves you, and like a parent and a child, it would be really wonderful if you loved God back. You know what else would be nice? If you stopped viewing God as this real mean, angry egomaniac that wants you to just bow down and worship, because you're kind of making God look bad, and it doesn't really make him feel good. And let me tell you something, if you're worshiping God out of fear, you might be worshiping the wrong God. So when I worship God, it's out of happiness, it's out of joy, it's out of gratitude, and I don't really mean like it's out of gratitude, you gotta follow. No, it's just because I'm happy. And that's what it is. That really is worship. It's like when your dad buys you a gift or a birthday cake and you run up to him and you hug him, wrap your arms around his legs, and you hug him and you say thank you. That's worship. That's from the heart. See, you hear these people, manifesting people say, oh, you got to say thank you and gratitude. No, it's not about saying it. It's about feeling it. So, let's imagine like something happens into your life that you prayed for and you got it. And you just feel so excited. God feels that when you feel that. God knows that you're feeling great about it. That's gratitude. I'll give you a little secret. God actually experiences life through all of us. So God's experiencing your experiences through you, literally. So when you're happy, God feels that. When you're just feeling wonderful, God feels that. When you're just like, when you get something, like someone gives you a gift, a house, a car, whatever, and you're just so happy, God feels that gratitude. God feels me like, oh, this is amazing. That's gratitude. That's essentially worshiping God. It's kind of like, okay, here's another one. Like literally, like when your father or your coach teaches you how to hit a room. Like, okay, I remember when I was in Little League, I think it was the second year, they said because I would just crack that ball. And this one coach said, now turn your wrist over at the very last minute. I'm like, what? He goes, it'll cause you to hit the top of the ball and the ball will go farther. I remember, man, I hit that damn ball and I snapped my wrist over and boom, it was solid, and I hit a freaking home run over the fence, and I ran around those bases. I was happy as hell, and I ran home, and then I remember I ran up to the coach, and I gave him a hug. That's worship. That's being grateful. That's being thankful. It's not a word that comes out of your mouth. It's an emotion that comes from your expression, from your body. Trust me, God knows when you're grateful, and God knows when you're happy, and God knows when you're worshiping from your heart, when you're just happy and like, oh my God, I'm so great, I'm so glad I learned this, and blah, blah, blah. God feels it. He knows. So there's one thing I would like to say about God is God's actually there for you. He really is. God's on your side. God has your back. You want to know what God's like? God is like that excited father that is taking his son to Little League or Babe Ruth and, come on, you can do it. You can just, how do they say it? God, I played baseball for like 8 or 9 years. I can't remember. It's watch the ball hit the bat. Like you got it when the pitcher throws it. Watch it all the way to the bat. It's the dad is just like motivating and, come on, you can do it. And he's there for them. Inspiring his own son or daughter. That's God. God is happy. God is having fun. And God's like, come on, you have fun too. Let's do this. And if you don't want to play baseball, well, maybe you want to go bowling. And God's going to be there for you for that too. See, that's another thing. I think a lot of people think I have to do this. I have to get married. I have to have kids. Or I have to... And God's just like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to do here? What do you want to experience? What do you want to explore? Like that. And so God's like, hey, let me show you some things that I learned, so you can start having fun. I mean, striking out is okay, but learning how to hit a home run, that's a whole lot better. Alright guys, that's it for this video. God bless you guys. If you like this video, please click the like button, and if you haven't, click subscribe, make a comment, and if you want, there's a donation PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.